Welcome. It's me, the GREG, the co-founder of the NAAFP, joined today for our third episode of the season of Bad Blood. It's Mike Lestat, our current predictions champion, the good stoner himself. Mike, thank you for joining me today, man. How you doing?
I'm feeling great, my brother. As always, shout out to UTR. So last night I decided to indulge a little bit in some goddamn vampires. And first of all, cookies, yes, this goddamn music. Man, I'm over here like, woo. I'm like, okay, Mongo, hell yeah.
Got to change some shit up, man. Got to change some shit up.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's simmer the fuck down.
Yeah, what's up, cookies? What's up, Batty? Hey, listen, I'm gonna save my gloating for throughout the week. We're talking about this is strictly for the vampires and a couple weeks the dragons. So,
ooh, man, yeah. Are you gonna join us for dragons? Because that's
oh yeah. I'm about to
Mm.
start my rewatch. Actually, this weekend I'm gonna start my.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna do the same damn thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as you guys see in my tagline, as I watched the first few episodes of this season, these motherfuckers are freaky. These some freaky ass goddamn vampires. I'm like, oh my god.
Woo! Brother, that's an understatement of the year. Holy shit. Yeah, it's a So you just got caught up with us. Me and Kenny have been doing this for since the show began, and we had some time to sit on it. But you caught up all the way to us, to the latest episode, season 2, episode 3, which, by the way, very short seasons. I think this is the 10th episode overall for the show, which I think is pretty cool. You're not dragging shit out. We're getting every episode is like bam, 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 bam. Something crazy's happening, and this one was no different. But I want to ask you, since you just got to these points, what did you think of the episode 2 of this season when they just jumped on that mansion and just started fucking killing people? We saw Louis and Armand just sitting there flirting while they were just massacring these people.
I laughed so goddamn hard when they went in there, when they went inside that murder mansion, and you could just see Claudia just eyes just light up, and them fangs started showing. She just went in there, they just went to town. I said, "Oh my god, oh my god, this is carnage." And these two motherfuckers are just, to your point, is casually just exchanging just flirtatious lines to one another. I said, "What kind of fucking devious ass shit is this?" Oh my god.
I'm like, we all watch all these kinds of shows, and we're always like, what's like the one thing you'd show someone to try to get them to watch the show? I'm like, I think it would be that scene. I think it'd be that scene of these two guys flirting with each other while you're seeing like dozens of people just getting torn to shreds. And the funniest part of that thing, I thought, to me, was you see the camera turn and Louis and Armand are going back and forth, and one of these vampires takes someone's head off and then is playing like keep away with the body. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Man, listen, I know it took me a while to get to this point with this show, but this show is wild.
Yeah.
What I've watched, this shit is wild. And I'm hooked. I'm officially hooked. I'm like, God damn, I can't wait for the next episode. Shit.
Yeah. Well, did you ask my person I had on last week? Did you see the movie when it was around back in the 90s, or any of that stuff?
I did not. Now I need to go watch the movie.
Honestly, I think you should wait until the end of the season, because the movie covers like a lot of stuff that the show hasn't gotten to yet. And as Kenny and I said, they've changed a lot of things, but the core story remains the same. And I think there's some things about to come up that are going to shock the hell out of you. I think it might be better if you just don't see the movie. I think you should wait until the season's over.
That's fair. Now, from my understanding, this is this show, the series, more accurate to the book than the movie?
So yes, and this series, I think, you know, me and Kenny talk about it a lot. Updated everything because in the original, Louis is like a white, like he's like a plantation owner, and they swapped it up. So now Louis is black, and Louis is like essentially a pimp, and it's part of Louisiana, running a handful of brothels, and he still has his own like shady shit. But I think this show does a better job of giving you an idea of what both Lestat is like and Louis' struggle with both being this essentially a god to mortals, but struggling with his mortal side. I think it really grabs that a bit better.
Speaking of my man Louis, as soon as they showed his face, I said, Grey Worm!
Yeah.
My man Grey Worm! I said, holy hell, I haven't seen my man Grey Worm since Game of Thrones. I said, wait, I was in shock. Like, and you know how good of a show Game of Thrones is, that once you see one of those characters in another show, you immediately can identify him. As soon as his face got on my screen, I said, Grey Worm? Oh my! I called him Grey Worm for at least the first episode. I'm sorry. I had to get used to calling him Luis.
Yeah. It takes a second. It's damn shy. Yeah, same way. Anytime I see any of those people anywhere else, like, oh shit, is that Arya? Oh, that's the Hound. What the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, man. I think first off, I think the casting in this show is incredible. Grey Worm, Louis, fantastic. He does a great job. We were talking about before the show started about being able to pull off all the accents they're doing, because most of these people are across the pond, and listen to Louis, you wouldn't know it. That man's got like a perfect accent for someone living in Louisiana, and which is impressive. It's very impressive. And you were talking about the show having two Claudias, which of course, first season, she could not come back due to scheduling issues. So I got a second one, and they both have very distinct accents, where one sounds more like she's from New Orleans, and she kind of has this certain French drawl that she does with everything. If you know anybody that's from there, you kind of get the idea. The one they got now, she's from fucking Macon. That's the accent she went with. But they're both very good. They're great. So I don't know if you were able to notice this first. I had to like rewatch the first season to kind of catch it. Leading up, and we're going to get into this episode soon. Chat, trust me. In episode 2, they meet the acting troupe, and they say that they were made by this guy named Bruce, and it wasn't a name they just made up. Bruce, which Claudia talks about in this episode more, was a vampire that basically assaulted her while she was trying to like go find herself.
Yeah. And
so they're trying to hide the fact that they killed Lestat, because this is where Lestat's from. And they're having to like kind of keep their story together, keep their story straight, because it's a very dangerous situation. And at this point in this period, they don't understand the 5 laws or whatever the hell that shit is. We don't even know the 5 laws until this episode.
Yeah.
And up until this point, like Louis been talking about Claudia and about her journal entry and all these other things, and trying to remember what Claudia was like. But they have not said if Claudia is around in present day.
Right.
So I think we're all like, did she make it out of this? Is she like, we're all kind of on, pins and needles waiting for that shit to drop. Before we get into this, what do you think is going to happen to her? You think she makes it out of this, or?
So I hope so. Because to your point, when they were mentioning Bruce, because I had to go back a few times and just really like pick up on what they were talking about. Because at first I thought, oh, Bruce is just a code name for Lestat. Because, they kill him. They don't want the coven to know about this. They don't want them to know that, oh, they killed one of their own. Then she started talking about the trauma that she went through, and I'm like, oh, damn, like when she started going through it, my heart sunk a little bit. I'm like, oh no. Like, she really got abused. And the fact that she is in this teenage state, like she has an adult mind, but is in this teenage state, just makes that scene even more depressing. I'm like, oh my God, like this poor vampire, like she is going through hell. But to answer your question, I hope that she makes it out of that phase and we get to see her as a full adult version of herself. Like her physical appearance matches her mental makeup. So I hope that we see her within the next few episodes. Because to your point, they tried to keep those 4 pages of that diary a secret.
Yeah.
Until my man was like, no. Bullshit. Nope. Just I enjoy him too. Daniel.
Yeah. I was. How do you like Daniel so far? He
does not put up with their shit. He calls them out on every piece of their bullshit, which is what a journalist is supposed to do.
Exactly. They didn't let you get away with shit. That was the funniest part. And we're about to get into it now. But first episode when he's like, oh my God, you two both fuck Lestat. And he starts playing like soap opera music. We gotta turn on Univision. It's Telenova time. Like, oh, you're such a dick. You're such a dick.
When he said that, I'm thinking to myself, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm like, these two freaky ass, again, these vampires are freaky as fuck. They got a whole ass relationship, and in the middle of their web, they got, first of all, I know I wasn't going to bring up wrestling, but I have to bring up a wrestling reference. When I look at Lestat, if you turn Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley into a freaky ass vampire, that's what you get. Him right there. Him. If you turn 90s Triple H, when he comes out to the goddamn Blue Blood music and all that shit, if you just convert that gimmick into a freaky ass vampire, that's who we get. Lestat right there.
Triple V.
Triple stat. That's God. But yeah, I'm glad he pointed that out because I'm like, what kind of freaky ass love triangle web we got going on here? Like this their whole love, their whole relationship is entangled within this dead ass vampire who fucked both of them.
They're struggling to get over it, and as we hear Armand say later, like when he's talking to Louis back in like the 40s, 50s, like it's been over 100 years. I'm still dealing with it. Damn, Jesus, this guy messed y'all up. Holy shit. So this episode starts off with Daniel McCoy. He's eating somewhere, and this random businessman just begins talking to him, like he knows him. Like, they're letting you out of the building. That's nice, I guess they don't have the leash as tight on you as I thought they did. Like Daniel's like, do I fucking know you? And then he starts quoting one of Daniel's books, and he says, I can't talk directly to you because then they'll figure it out. So he pulls out a phone, pretends he's talking on the phone, and he says the Great Conversion is real, and that at first when he began tracking vampires, there was only 800. Now there's 1,600 of them. And Dan's like, who are you? And he says, the name is Raglan James. And he says, give a real name. Do you have a name that's not ridiculous? And he starts getting real tense about it with Daniel, and he says, You aren't the first to attempt to do this. And the last 4 that tried are either dead or undead. And that's when Daniel's had enough. Hey, everybody, this guy's an informant. Hey, anybody care? The guy's like,
yeah. Oh man, that was hilarious. Because I was thinking the same thing. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, and he's what line did he say about his laptop? He said
something about like being bugged, or like them like planting stuff in it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, who the fuck are you?
And he just pulls up all this goddamn information. I'm just like, yo, like this is a twist.
Yeah. The dick's a rat. Like, yeah, exactly.
Definitely a rat. And I'm just like, man, I'm interested to see where that element goes within this show. Because on the recap, they said it. They said, yeah, it's kind of like Men in Black vibes. And I'm like, yeah, that makes fucking sense. You got on a black suit with the shades on, you know, trying to look incognito, but sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm telling this man about these vampires, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Talking about shit they're not supposed to know. Yeah, absolutely. My God. So Daniel meets up to begin the session, and it's just Armand. Louis still asleep. Armand apologizes for Louis getting in Daniel's head in the last episode, where they shook the hell out of Daniel, brought up some pretty tough memories for him. And Daniel says, I gotta know. I can't figure this out. How the hell? And this is a question that honestly, we all ask ourselves pretty much every day. How can you stay hidden from the cloud? How the hell are you able to hide yourselves when we're all over the place on the internet? Like, there's no way to get away from it. Whether, you know, you're just doing Facebook or something, or someone takes a picture of you and someone all across the world can find you. Reddit has several times pinpointed the location of like kidnap victims by figuring out like the location of the stars in the sky and finding an address that would be close to it. Like the shit that someone can do to find you on the internet, no matter how vague the information is insane. So Daniel being like, how the hell have y'all stayed hidden in this era of just no privacy? And that's a good question.
Yeah. I would assume, based off what I've seen, they've killed a lot of motherfuckers to stay discreet.
Hey, shit. Yeah. They don't have a problem killing anybody. So yeah,
they have absolutely no remorse when it comes to us mortals. That's like a game. Killing them is like a game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just like killing a fucking rat. There's nothing to it. Armand mentions that by the time he kind of goes back on when he first met Lestat. Like, part of the story is him meeting Lestat, and then we go into Louis and Claudia this episode. He talks about how he was a vampire for 239 years before he met Lestat. And Lestat was someone turned by one of Armand's followers, Magnus. Magnus was mentioned in season 1, where Lestat claimed that Magnus turned him and just kind of beat the shit out of him and left him drained a lot and just kind of abused the hell out of him like a slave. And then one day he just threw himself into a fire. And just like what's her name, Darciana did in the first episode of this season.
Oh my God. Go
ahead. Yeah.
Can I just harp on that for a second?
Sure. So when I saw that, and I'm sorry, rest UTR, like I'm new to this, so if I'm going back a little bit, just I apologize in advance, because this is all still new to me, like very new to me. When I saw that, absolutely.
First of all, the demon vampire, that fucked me up.
Oh, what did Louis call it? That's not a vampire. That's a catfish with a catfish with teeth. Catfish with fangs.
A catfish with fangs. And then she had the audacity to say, "Oh, that's my son. That's a child. A child." that's a child. That ain't no damn child. That is a fucking middle-aged. That demon is at least 1,000 years old. Just running rampant. Okay. And then they get to her, wherever the fuck it is, the fucking house or castle, whatever. And then she throws herself in the goddamn fire.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what the fuck? Like,
And that wasn't a quick death either. That shit was it was brutal. That took a little while.
After they convinced her, listen, y'all can come with us. Y'all are vampires just like us. Okay? We're not gonna harm you. Blah blah blah. She said, "Oh, that sounds great. Let me fry myself up." I said, "What the hell?"
Yeah, that was. I think they said it was like 5 years between when the first season ended and then them finding her. Like, damn, y'all for 5 years and that's all you got? That's all that you found? Shit. And they go to Paris, and all of a sudden there's like 40 of these motherfuckers,
right,
just out in the open. So that is, if you count Magnus, that would be, I guess it's the third that gets burned alive, because also, and the end of the first season, Lestat's secret lover Antoinette gets burned, and they have a thing in the back to burn bodies, and they burn her alive. And then in this episode, when we go back to Armand's time, one of his lackeys is talking about how one vampire broke some kind of code, and they're just slowly burning this motherfucker to death. I was like, Jesus Christ, is there any other way for y'all to kill somebody? There has to be a more like humane way to do this, because every time people just Jesus. And even Louis says it in the episode when, like, not to spoil it this quick, but when he's threatened with with death, and he's like, "Can you just cut my head off? Because the burning shit that sucks. That looks like hell."
Our Armand had a fucking fireball just calmly just with the palm of his damn hands. I'm like,
not only is he a vampire, he's a fucking X-Man.
Right.
Armand says that he found Lestat acting in a theater, and said he just had natural charisma. Everybody was drawn to him, even me. And we see over the next few weeks he's trying to lure Lestat into his coven. Lestat just enjoys being out in the open too much, and Armand ends up attacking Lestat and taking his lover Nikki. Armand takes him back to his quarters, and Lestat shows up carrying a cross with Jesus on it, like it's a fucking toy. Like all these other vampires are like, no. It's wood. It's just a piece. He just drops it. See, it's like a table leg. It's nothing. Like, there's that arrogance he had, and Armand's like, the way he, we were always hidden, and he wanted to be able to live as a vampire, be able to just be out in the open like that. I wanted my coven to do the same, but if it came from me, they wouldn't have done it. Like, they didn't. It's like they didn't trust him, which he said they were kind of losing. He was kind of losing their faith over the past century.
Well, also because he's a controlling motherfucker.
Yeah,
he's controlling. You saw how he just stalked Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, this dude has major control issues.
Absolutely, and we see it throughout the present day timeline where he's like, in the first season he's like not revealed himself to be a vampire, but he's always around when the interview's happening to stop Louis from going too far into the truth, and tries to cut Daniel off in a lot of spots. And he is an incredibly controlling person, vampire. He wants to have total control of every situation. Armand ends up going back to the theater, and Lestat ends up letting him know, oh, by the way, because he thought his coven died. He said, they all perished after they left because of what you said to them. And they end up becoming lovers. And then when he goes to the theater, finds out, oh, they're all fucking fine. They're in the audience or they're on stage. Shit. Lestat's lover, Nikki, is playing a violin in the band. Lestat goes to get a little smoochy smooch from Armand, and Armand says, "Oh, Nikki's watching," and he says, "Let him watch. He should be focusing on his music sheet."
Right.
God damn!
Like, you bastard.
You dick.
I will say, this fucking show has a lot of comic relief to it.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
I've laughed extremely hard. I'm like, I should not be laughing this hard at this fucking show. This should be a horror show. In its core, in its core, it is. But this show is funny as hell. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, this is the second I was like, oh, this is gonna be really fun. Back and forth was the first episode when Louis goes to one of his brothels, and Alderman is like sitting there with like a busted head. His prostitute goes, he tried to put his dick in my ass. Like, whoa. Oh shit. Okay. We're just going in on this. All right, cool. Yeah, cool.
He put his dick in my shit box.
Fuck. All right, we're just going full throttle. All right, cool. Yeah, every episode has like a few moments where like you'll find yourself cackling, and then the next moment you're gonna be like, oh shit, what's about to happen? Armand mentions that after he taught Lestat the mind gift, which is kind of their thing, like instead of saying someone can fly, they call it the cloud gift. And instead of reading your mind, it's the mind gift, which is a little ridiculous, but they're vampires.
Right.
He says after he taught Lestat the mind gift, he abandoned Armand and the coven and even Nikki, and he broke all their hearts. And like and Louis walks into this point, and he goes, and that's because Lestat at the end of the day is only about Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's a selfish dude.
Yeah.
He's selfish as hell. How to start looking at the show? Start the movie first, the show in order. Hey, Kanisha. Mike has not seen the movie. He's just doing the show. If you're gonna want to watch, if you want to see this with us and you don't want to be like spoiled on stuff that happens, I would just say watch the show. Because the movie is just a 2-hour thing. You get all of last season, this season, and probably the next season, all in 2 hours. So you're gonna get spoiled on a lot of shit unless they change something. So I would recommend just doing the show, and then once the season's over, go back to the movie. Louis and Claudia are when I back to their story, and we see them talking about how Bruce killed himself. And Claudia kept wanting to say, this is Chicago. It's Chicago. And Louis says, I don't know anything about Chicago. Like, that's not AMC Plus. Yeah, AMC Plus is where to go if you want to get it through there, or you can find it other ways. I'm sure there are other ways to get to it. So they agreed that Bruce died on Caddo Lake in Shreveport, where he burned himself on a bridge.
Hold on. Before we get there.
All right.
And this would make me howl. He killed himself in Cincinnati. What do we know about Cincinnati? You're right. He kills himself in Shreveport. I said, son of a bitch. Me being from Cincinnati, first of all, I got to keep going, oh, they mentioned my city. Because they had, Chicago, then Gary, then a little bit further down Cincinnati. They don't know shit about Cincinnati. We're just going to go all the way back down to Shreveport. I said, you motherfuckers.
Couldn't let you have that one, could they?
Couldn't let my city have shit. That you motherfucker. We couldn't have a suicide. God damn.
Couldn't even have a fake suicide from a vampire. Damn, this shit sucks. At this point, Claudia is working for the troupe, and what we see is she's taking care of the dead bodies that we saw in the play in the second episode that at the end of every play, they send one of their like mind controlled humans out to just scream, "Oh, they're vampires! Ah, shit!" So they can like drain them on stage, and then they pull the lever, and the body just boom drops down. They're dead, and one of the workers takes Claudia down to the lower part of the basement and says, "This is where you dump the bodies, and this is the body box. This is the rat box." What's the rat box?
Yeah.
And so you put the body in the body box, you lift this up, and the rats go to work. Oh God!
Yeah.
He said, "This is the body box. This is the rat box. Tomorrow, this will be the rat box, and this will be the body box." He's like, "Don't get them switched."
Yeah.
And there's even a point where like you hear the rats like squeal really high, and the guy goes, "Oh, they found the heart. Rats love hearts." Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Oh, that's what tickles their fancy, huh? When they found the heart. This is fucking gross.
It's like you said, man. It's just like shit like that. Where like, oh, there's disgust. Wait, what? It'll get you. Armand's trying to bring Louis into the coven, while Claudia is really excited about joining vampires that don't want to just control the hell out of her, and she's loving the way that they live their lives. Louis just wants to be left alone. He just wants to just live his life, walk down the streets of Paris, take pictures, all this other stuff. And Armand is basically saying, look, you either join the coven or we have to do something. And the whole time Louis is like, Louis knows Armand can do it, but he's also he's playing with Armand's head, and he can kind of tell that they both have a connection. And so I think he's probably taking advantage of that a little bit. Like if he didn't know that Armand was into him, he probably would not be so casual about everything.
Yeah.
Oh shit, look who's in the chat. What's going on, Kenny? How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother?
Oh man, yeah, we got him. We got him, Kenny. Mike's hooked.
Y'all fucking got me. Yeah, I'm hooked with these freaky ass vampires.
Yeah, Loki Louis is very manipulative. Yeah, and you know what? They even said it in one of the previews of the episode where somebody's like, Armand's not the one you want to worry about. And you see Louis like getting upset and throwing shit. Like Louis is pretty dangerous.
And you know what? And Kenny, that's just us being brothers. I was literally about to say, it takes a control freak to know a control freak. Because mind you, and Mongo brought up earlier, this man was a fucking pimp.
Mm-hmm.
In control of the brothels, in control of his hoes. So he's in control of everything. And now he is head on with another control freak.
Yeah.
So you see this flirtatiousness going on, but you also see these head games play amongst each other. So, and yeah, I wouldn't. And to the person who said you better watch out for Louis, I agree with that too.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, Louis. In the first episode, we see who Louis is because Louis pulls a knife on his own brother.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to show like, hey, I'm not someone to mess with. So he pulls a knife on his brother in the street so everyone can see him do it.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny says this whole story is about Louis manipulating everyone around him to make himself happy, even as a human with him being a pimp. Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's Louis is not innocent in a lot of most ways. He's very he's not a morally good person. Nobody, and they even talk about that in this episode where he and Armand go to like a piano bar, and they're discussing what is evil and what isn't evil, and is evil even a real thing? Because you have to believe morality. And that's when he sees Lestat playing the piano. And Armand can tell that Lestat's still in Louis' head because unlike Claudia, Louis can't block his thoughts too well.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's here again, isn't he? And Louis is like, I'm sorry. And he says it's Bruce. And Armand says, Bruce. Yeah, it's Bruce. Okay. Let's just go ahead and say it. And then Lestat sits beside him and says, "Don't say it, Louis. Don't do it. Don't tell him." And then Louis says, "I killed Lestat. He fucking deserved it." It's like, shit. It's out in the open. Here we go. It's out there. He turned Claudia for his own personal reasons. Lestat said that the girl died, but Louis wanted to play God. Yeah. And even in this episode, Armand mentions that, like, Claudia being turned so young was going to lead to problems.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of see the beginning of that. And when we get to the end, we'll talk about it. But I think we're about to start seeing Claudia's mind begin to unravel a bit. And just being stuck, like you said earlier, being stuck in this young woman's body. Like, she's, I think, 13 or 14 when she's turned.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not even finished with puberty before she gets turned into a vampire. So in the first season, she mentions, like, trying to find lovers, and it's impossible because she just looks like a child to most people. She looks like a kid. And, like, yeah, that's pretty depressing. that does suck.
Yeah, that's a very fucked up way to live. Especially with her trauma that she dealt with. And now she just said she's just trapped in this just version of herself. And we don't know when she's going to get out of it. She doesn't even know when she's going to get out of it. So that's, yeah. Yeah, these motherfuckers, yeah, these some evil ass fucking vampires.
Yeah, I think Kenny was talking about okay, fine, love accept. Yeah, isn't that terrible? That's fucking awful. That's just
man.
About how some people kind of have a hard time getting into this because it's like vampires are all about, like, the lovey shit. Like, this show is not. It's there, but it's more about just the depressing lives they live trying to just exist in this world. Like, they're all bad people morally. They're killing innocent people just to sustain life. But it's about just, like, they just go through so much shit because being a vampire just really isn't that easy. And, like, Claudia, she got trapped in this body that she is probably in her 50s or 60s as far as age goes, but she looks like she's 13 years old. And then you get to see, when you get turned, you get to see your family, like Louis did. His family first off began to die off, and then the rest of them that were alive wanted nothing to do. He lost his entire family just because he got turned, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this show's about. And it does get intense. Louis does run off, and after Lestat keeps getting into his head, and he ends up attacking someone that looks like Lestat. He thinks it's Lestat. And he ends up bashing the guy's skull into the wall, bites the hell out of him. He looks back up, and it's just some random, like, it doesn't even look nothing like Lestat. Just like a random dude. You barely see what his face looks like anymore. It's just mush. And in the first 2 episodes, they mentioned that the troupe had been cleaning up after Claudia and Louis because they've been, like, leaving bodies in the sewers or leaving bodies in places that they can be found. And this time, after Louis' like mental breakdown, he leaves the body again, and that comes up soon after. Claudia is with Louis after this, and they go back to their apartment, and Louis is struggling. Claudia says, "We need to work on this story," because at the beginning of this episode, Claudia was like, "We don't need this to explain anymore. I've been here for like months. Like, we're done asking about this." But she ends up being asked by I can't remember the guy's name, the main actor of the troupe, more about her
Santiago.
Santiago, yeah, thank you. Santiago asked more about that and how Louis is from Chicago, and he's like not fully believing everything he's hearing. You can tell he's like, and he says, "What is the gift that Bruce gave you?" And she said, "He taught me how to lie." And she said, "Well, you're going to be a great actress." But this point is when Claudia reveals more about her abuse from Bruce. They're laying in coffins, and Louis is, he has a little lamp, like he likes to read at night or during the day. And Claudia says, "He told me he loved me before, during, and after." Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That, like I said earlier, like that made my heart just sink when she was going through and just saying all that stuff, and I was just like, I wanted to hug her.
Yeah.
I wanted to give this vampire a hug.
She'd kill you, but I mean, she needs a hug. She needs a hug. Ours in pieces. Yeah, and you could see Louis like struggling to not let her know, but he was crying. He was hurt for her. And that act, he does a great job of like giving you emotion, like his crying face and just trying to hold back his it's great. And she says, it wasn't the worst part wasn't him breaking my legs and hiding me under the floorboards. Like, fuck, that's not the worst part. And then that's when she says, he loved me before, during, and after. And then he drove off after he said he was tired of looking at my gloomy face. My God. Jesus, man. Just yeah. Claudia's story, that I think, like you were mentioning before about like, or asking before, like movie or the show, what's closer. And again, like they both have their parts. Again, the movie kind of more sticks with the actual, like Louis was a plantation owner. It's more about that kind of stuff. But again, I think the show really does a great job of presenting the traumas that they're all dealing with.
Yeah.
Everybody has a past that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Woo. Yeah, I'm still thinking about just that whole. And as Claudia is telling Louis this, he's trying to tell her what he told Armand. Like, he knows about Lestat. But she's just giving just this vividly just description of her trauma, and he just can't do it. Just like, fuck. And now gotta find some comedic value in it. So obviously they're vampires, but just seeing them lie down in the coffin just made me just chuckle. Like these motherfuckers actually like laying down in like real coffins, and they're about to just good night. But that's like duh, Mike, the coffin. But I just found that just so hilarious.
It's funny to bring that up. Last week, my buddy Coy that I used to stream with was on, and he was talking about how like it's such a tough story, but then you see them getting those coffins, and you just have to laugh at it because it's just ridiculous. He said, like, like vampires and coffins, that doesn't have to be a thing, but we just we know it's a thing that they do, and it's just no matter what is happening, you're gonna start laughing when you see them like get in like an argument, and then like good night, and they slam the coffins on each other. It's like that's like their version of like hanging up the phone real loud and get done with an argument.
Because in my brain, I'm thinking, oh, these got like their own like single or twin size bed. No, these motherfuckers are actually in coffins. I'm just like, oh boy, I laughed so hard. I laughed for about 5 minutes straight when I saw them in them damn coffins.
It's funny because like in the present day, Armand and Louis share like a fucking king size bed.
Yeah.
They're in a bed. It's like, so you didn't have to do the coffins.
Right.
You could just be in bed.
Right. They could have been cots or anything. Oh no. I'm shocked they didn't put them in a king size coffin.
That extra space, some cushion, real nice. That's one of my favorite moments in the first season is when they take Claudia to go shopping for her coffin, and she's like getting into the coffin. She sits up and goes, "This one's perfect," and the guy's like, "What?" That night, Claudia is to be entered into the coven, and Santiago demands Armand take care of Louis because of the body that was found, and he's like, people are going to begin getting suspicious, and we need to do something about this. So Armand takes Louis away as the coven begins to bring Claudia in, and they go into the sewers. And this is when Santiago gives us the 5 great laws. 1, each coven must have its leader, and only he might order the working of the dark order upon a mortal, or dark gift. So I guess the coven leader is the one that decides who gets to be given the gift, gets to become a vampire.
Yeah.
Early in the episode, Armand mentions that Lestat's lover, Nikki, was probably not going to be able to handle the gift because he was too weak. But then we see Nikki later on, so maybe Armand isn't too keen on that. Maybe he's not always correct. It might just depend on, maybe the resolve somebody has, or maybe it depends on who turns who. Mm-hmm. We saw in the first episode of this season that Louis told Darciana that the blood is bad here.
Yeah.
It's too sad.
Yeah.
Which, when you go back and look at Armand before he's meeting Lestat, it is a sad and depressing fucking life. Like, they look like shit. They are just rags and bones, and it's just this depressing, poorly lit area. So maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows?
And then you fast forward, and they're in fucking World War, what was it, 1 or 2?
I think World War II.
They're in fucking World War II, going through Hitler's Germany into
pushing, trying to get to Ukraine and Russia. Yeah.
To Romania. It's just like, well, shit, of course the blood is bad here. Y'all are drinking PTSD blood.
Yeah, and that's an interesting way to describe them having this, there's good and bad food for them to have.
Mm-hmm.
The way that someone lives affects how they taste. It's interesting. Yeah. That's how now we have all kind of different kinds of chicken or cows. If you have corn fed, whatever, grass fed, free range, all that stuff, it's supposed to taste better,
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels like that a little bit. The second law is the dark gifts must never be given to the crippled, the maimed, or children, which is already a law broken because Claudia was a child when she was given the gift. So, no vampire must commit to writing the history of the vampires. So, again, it was mentioned before when they started doing this interview that when it gets out, Louis will probably be killed for it. And that's one of the 5 laws, that you can't put this shit down to be ever found, essentially.
Yeah.
4 is no vampire shall ever reveal his or her true nature to a mortal and let the mortal live. Which, like that guy said to Daniel, hey, 4 have tried before, and they're not living anymore. They're either dead or they're vampires. So you ain't got much time left, brother. You know what sucks about that? He's going to be a vampire that has to deal with fucking Parkinson's and arthritis.
Yeah.
That shit sucks.
That's some bullshit. He can't afford to drink no bad blood.
Gonna end up just in a fucking ball. Just 5 is no vampire may ever destroy another vampire, except that the coven master has the power of life and death over all of his flock. So essentially, you can't kill anybody unless Big Chief says so. And it is his obligation to finally seek the destruction of all those who have broken these 5 laws. So the coven leader must be the one to execute the other vampires. I was terrified for Claudia here because I was like, shit, she's a kid. They know she looks like a child. So they know. So are they about to just fucking axe her? What's about to happen? But no, they celebrate with her. They welcome her in, and not only do they welcome her, they say they have a new play they're going to do, and she's going to be the star. And one of them is going to be the mother. One of them is going to be the maid in the play, and she pulls out this frilly ass baby blue kid's dress. You're going to be the star, the daughter, and I get to be a kid, and they're all screaming with excitement. And you can see her face yay.
She's Like,
Great. And then Armand is taking Louis into the sewers. And that's when Louis says, if you're going to kill me, just fucking do it. But please don't burn me alive. Just take my head. Like, don't, the burning shit. He looks back and sees the fire in Armand's hand. It's just, can you not burn me? Can you, anything but? But instead of killing him, they open up the sewers and they reveal that Armand has taken Louis back to his place. Louis is like, this is my apartment. It's just, yeah. Basically giving you like a final warning. And Louis decides to let Armand in, and Armand says, you're inviting me in, and Louis says, it depends. You're gonna kill me? And Armand walks on in, and that's when they finally get together, and that's the end of the episode. A lot of setup. A lot of setup. I call this episode of our review Chekhov's Rats. Chekhov's gun is the idea in a screenplay that if you put something up in the first or second act, it must be used by the third act. The idea, like if there's like a gun hanging on the wall, that gun has got to be used at some point in the play. Those rats are going to be killing somebody important, I feel like, because that was a lot of screen time for body disposal. Because the incinerator that they use in the season 1 got a lot of use. We saw that shit on screen all the time, not just burning bodies, but burning, like Antoinette got burned alive in it. So those rats are going to eat somebody that we know. So let's see what happens. But you're all caught up. This is, heading to episode 4 tomorrow. How did you like this episode?
Woo! Listen, I've enjoyed this. That was a really good episode, especially with that cliffhanger at the end. You don't know what's going to happen. Obviously we know what's going to happen. They're going to get down and freaky because there's some freaky ass vampires. But what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with Claudia in terms of this play? There's just so many questions. Is the Men in Black dude going to show up again? Or more of them going to show up again? It's just I have a lot of questions and a lot of intrigue. So yeah. Hey man, Mongo, Kenny, y'all got me, brothers. Y'all got me.
Got you hooked.
Got me hooked, and this is the perfect appetizer for dragons. This is perfect.
Oh yeah, and we thought that it was going to be done around the time Dragons started, but they ended up pushing Dragons date to earlier. Like it's starting next Sunday. I think it's like the 9th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I was like, damn, we gotta. Yeah. Good thing is these seasons are both very short. So by the time we're almost done with vampires, I think this is going to be 4 tomorrow, and then if it's 7 episodes like last time, we only have 2 episodes left. And then we can solely focus on Dragons.
I stand corrected. No, according to Google, shit, next week.
Next week. All right. So yeah, this will be 4, and then 5 is then. So it'll be 3 episodes. Where we're going to end up doing double duty on Saturdays. We're going to be covering vampires for an hour and then dragons for an hour, which is a lot, but it won't be going like that forever. If you were going to convince somebody to watch this show, Mike, what would you say to them?
I would say, if you're a fan of vampires already, like if you watch shows like True Blood, if you've watched what's it called? With Edward and them. What was that shit?
Oh, the
Twilight. Yeah, Twilight. If you're just a fan of vampires, you'll enjoy this show. If you want to see some horrific shit mixed with some comedic value, you'll enjoy this show. If you want to see my man Grey Worm, you will enjoy this fucking show.
Acting his ass off.
Acting his fucking ass off. And if you want to just pivot and just watch something different, watch something that you're not used to, I would suggest this. You will enjoy it. I've never really watched anything with vampires like that. So for me, this show is different. Mind you, I've watched shit with dragons. I've watched House of Dragons and Game of Thrones.
Yes, you're not too far away from the idea. Yeah.
But vampires and how vampires live is very different. And I've enjoyed the hell out of this. So yes, please check out this show. You'll enjoy it. And
now we got to get you to watch. Now we got to get you to watch. Fuck, what is it called? The Last of Us.
Please, yeah, watch The Last of Us.
We'll be covering all those. We'll be covering all this stuff. And if y'all have an idea of something we can cover, in the fall, winter, before we can get to that next season, let us know. We're listening to all any recommendations. But that's gonna be it for us today. Thanks for joining us. We will be back Monday for Raw Talk, and then Mike, Thursday you got a defense, brother.
That's all right. Man. Listen,
hey, you've done fine so far.
Listen, I'm going into 2 months with the belt. We had a pit stop over in Saudi Arabia, and like I said, we're gonna carry this thing to my home state. We're gonna be, instead of being in Southwest Ohio, we're gonna be in Northeast Ohio, baby. We're going to SummerSlam.
There you go.
SummerSlam. We just gotta get through this bullshit first.
I do think you're on the current longest streak since we had to pause the show a few years back. So this might be, it's either you or Tito's like right around there. Tito's also hard to beat whenever he has that thing.
Yeah. By the time Thursday comes, it'll be 2 months exactly, or close to it. So yeah.
Like that. All right, folks, you can follow us at facebook.com/undertheringpod and twitch.tv/undertheringpod. You can also get us at Linktree, also /undertheringpod, where you're going to see our links. I'm, of course, at Greg Bush SK. My co-host today at Mr. Freshbeard, our current predictions champion. I'm giving it to you. I'm not going to mess that up this time because, you filled in for Kenny, so we're going to let that slide. Of course, Kenny at Rockrose44. We got my forever rival, the current, along with Kenny, the current Are You Fucking Serious winners. Matt at The Right Answer. Tito at Borreo Maliente, our street team captain. And last but not least, our good friend and local news correspondent, Justin D. Baxley. Folks, have a fantastic weekend. Thanks again for following. See you Monday. Don't do anything stupid. Or if you do, don't get caught.
They get hit by a vampire.
Peace out, y'all.